Hello, and in this video we're going to be going through the stages of malware analysis even. More specifically though, we're going to be going through static analysis. Now, before we get into the video, I always just like to remind you that if you have any questions, you can DM me on Twitter, or you can tweet at me. You can also post it in the Reddit page, which will be in the description as well, or the YouTube comments. I'll answer them in that order, just because Twitter's always with me, and so is Reddit. And if you want to, you can pledge to my Patreon, which is in the description as well. So we can set up a website, get some forums going, potentially do some write-ups, do some general life blogs, answer any questions in blog format that might be better as a blog format rather than a video format, that sort of thing. So also maybe think about putting a submission thing there so you can send me your files and I'll be able to analyze them for you. Awesome, let's get into this. So what is static analysis? So static analysis is the act of examining an executable file without viewing its actual instructions. Static analysis is, the aim of static analysis is to confirm whether a file is malicious and provide information around its functionality without actually needing to run it. However, static analysis can be ineffective against sophisticated malware. However, I haven't actually came across sophisticated malware myself personally, so I don't know if static analysis is ineffective against that sort of thing. I haven't came across it anyways, but it's something I always like to remind people of when getting into this. So the stages of this. So you've done your triage analysis, you've got your file. In this case we've got the jigsaw exe. You got your file. What do you do next? So you found out where it came from, you found out the header information, the hashes, that sort of thing, like we did in the last video. And what are we going to do now? What's next? So what's next is we can do one of two things. Now, if it's something where you think no one's actually ever seen this piece of malware before, then upload it to VirusTotal. VirusTotal.com, upload it here. You can choose your file, you can drop it in, boom, computates the hash for you and does an analysis. There you go. So 61 engines have detected that this file is malicious. So we just have a quick scroll through them. And VirusTotal is actually really good for this sort of thing, because if it is malware that has been seen before, you get an idea of its functionality straight out the bat without having to need to do anything else. If you click on details, it gives you the hashes. It also gives you a history of that. So first seen in the wild, 2010 apparently. Any other file names that this ransomware comes as, which there's a lot. So it's not signed, so signature verification is it is quite important, because as you can see it's developed by it details who's developed it. Obviously as malware coders try and do this, they always take the signatures out because they don't want to be tracked on, that sort of thing. But there are some people who design malware that aren't as smart as that and will often leave a signature in. So in this case as well, we can see that the description of the product is labeled as Firefox, but the original name's a Bitcoin blackmailer.exe. So in any process it's going to come across as Firefox, which is important information, because you can use that in order to find the process in Process Hacker when you actually do come to do a dynamic analysis of that. Right, so it gives you the entry point, gives you the sections as well. Cool. And any imports it gives, in which case it drops another exe. So I think this exe here that it drops is, I think it also drops the kernel 32 DLL, I believe. And that kernel 32 DLL is sort of like a reverse TCP. So this is new, relations is new. But I'm assuming it's jigsaw exe, and totally legitimate.fish is probably, it says cloud storage, so it's probably where you download, where it calls for downloads, that sort of thing. Let's see. So it's got some parents as well. So there's a lot of information. I actually haven't had a look at the relations tab at all. So let's see what else. So there we go. WS2 underscore 32.dll is an internet connection. So it determines the net connection. It tells you where the files are written to as well, and what they're written as. So we've got a Dropbox and a Firefox exe. Any registries that have been changed. Lots of information on this. So you can build your report really. You can build a report on this, and then there's also information from people who have actually ran it as well. So that's VirusTotal. So that there is pretty much the majority of your static analysis complete just from finding it on that. But if nothing comes past it, you shove it into PE Studio. PE Studio will give you any indicators, so any blacklisted stuff, any section names, any entry points that don't look right. It'll also run it against VirusTotal for you anyways. So if nothing comes back for that, then that's when you can try and upload it. Okay. So it also gives you a list of strings. However, it doesn't give you the full amount of strings in this, which is why I use Windows strings anyways. And then it gives you information about the actual file itself. So PE Studio is very good for building that report. What I would do next is I would then open up CMD, navigate to where my strings file is, and I just run strings and then whatever the actual exe that I'm testing against is. Now you can, if you want, take these and paste them somewhere, but it's just nice to get an idea of what the file's doing once it's been ran. So let's see, what have we got here? Right. Anything that looks interesting. So it looks like it just sets up the actual background. So what this does is when it runs, it says that your software is being verified and that it'll be done within 48 hours. And then the screen pops up with the doll from Jigsaw in it. It says you want to play a game. Then it comes up with a threatening message and a clock countdown. And what this looks like is it's just getting that information to provide that image. So, okay, flags not empty. So this is the run. So congratulations, software has been registered. This is your confirmation code. Email us this. Thank you. Alright, so then does Dropbox exe, Firefox exe, and the System32 work, and then your files are being encrypted. So what it does is once it's ran, it drops these out and then it auto runs them. And then these are the ones that actually start to encrypt your files on your PC. Then it gives you the message saying that you can do this, this, and this, and then thank you, blah blah blah. Yeah, there you go. 2 minutes, blah blah blah. Right. Okay. So after 72 hours, all that are left will be deleted. So you have 24 hours to pay that fine. After 72 hours, all that are left will be deleted. If you do not have Bitcoins, Google website, local Bitcoins. Purchase $150 American worth of Bitcoins or 0.4 BTC. The system will accept either one. Send the Bitcoin to the address specified. So there'll be one on there. Probably be unique to the ID for that. So there we go. So please send the Bitcoin here. And then there's forms. So there's form background and form 1. Now this is interesting information because you know that you can use DNSpy to have a look at these forms to see what form background and form 1 are doing at the same time, which we do in a dynamic analysis. Changes the extension stuff fun, and then it gives you a bunch of stuff. So let me see. There's I'm assuming this is the wallet or the address to send the money to. Then there's a button check payment, so once you've sent it, you can wait a couple of minutes, then check to see if it's been sent. If it has, what it'll do then, it'll start to decrypt the files. So there's this here, which we saw, which I actually have here. Oh wait, no, I have the actual, I have the strings for some reason. That's fine though. So this address here, it's not an address for the actual, people or anything. It's not a server address. This is just a Coinbase, so you can go buy yourself some coins. I'm not text.sc Windows encrypted file list.txt. And there we go. It's the end of it, basically. So the strings provide a good idea of what's going on in the file without actually needing to run the file, which is why I like Windows strings so much over PE Studio strings, because PE Studio strings doesn't have this information. It also doesn't have the form information either. So let's go. Right. What we would then do is, in this case, I mean, the idea of static analysis to find out what the file does without needing to open it. We now know what the file does. We now have the strings for the file. As static analysis goes, obviously we can do more, but it's done for now, pretty much. There are other checks you can do. So in the strings themselves, you can search for certain processes. So one that I like to search for is sleep. And that's because what this looks like is it brings in the forms for the actual build for the actual the ransomware screen anyways. Then it puts it to sleep until it's ready to pull it out, and then once it's pulled out, that's when it starts. So I'm assuming this here is to give all of this enough time in order to do what it needs to do. Once this is done, it sleeps, and then that invokes the next set of strings in order to drop the Firefox and the Dropbox exes in order to start encrypting stuff. So we can see if there's any sort of IP fields or anything like that. So we've got a zip, description, no IPs, no IP addresses, which is fine, So actually, wait, if we just go back to, what was this one? So in C Windows, software, Microsoft Windows, current version, run.zip. Right, so it actually finds out what Windows you're running at the time. So I'm assuming that's just so it can modify bits and bobs of the malware in order to fit whatever operating system you're using. There's also things like Internet Open, see if it comes up with a server address or downloads any files, anything like that. That's always interesting to do. There's also an obfuscation check. So malware writers obfuscate code to avoid detection. They'll often pack the file. So it's hard to determine if it is packed, but PEID provides information around that. So this is the raw format straight from the download. So nothing found, so it's not packed. So this is raw exe format. So it depends on how it's actually packed. If it's UPX packed, which quite a lot of malware in my experience is, CFF Explorer has a UPX unpacker in it, and it will unpack it for you. What we can do then is we've already got the PE file sections. So if we go to PE Studio, we can get it in here, the section. So yeah, this just looks like, this is just standard format for exe, and we can take a screenshot of this. Or I know this produces a report, but the report isn't actually great, so I always just snip and tool this area, keep that. So the actual file format itself, obviously it contains the information for Windows operating system to run the actual code itself, to be able to run the malware. So during analysis, we can see which functions have been imported and exported, and the type of linking. So either it's runtime, it's static, or it's dynamic linking. Now these refer to DLL libraries and how these libraries actually correlate their references to get these results. So if we were to chuck this into CFF Explorer, it has a dependency walker. So we can see any imports and exports. So as we run this, like you said, it drops a DLL, which drops another DLL, which drops all of these DLLs, which we've already been through in the tool thing. But we can see that it drops these DLLs, and then obviously we can take information from this as well. So if you are unfamiliar with any of the DLLs, all I would suggest doing is just doing a quick Google. do a quick Google of the DLLs and it'll give you the information surrounding it. So I mentioned 3 different types of linking, so runtime, static and dynamic. So these themselves, like I said, there are differences. They're different in each way. So static linking is where the linker resolves all the references of the build time, and this results in an executable that does not depend on any external libraries. They're all copied into the image and references go there immediately, aka an exe. So it doesn't require any downloads, it doesn't require any extra DLLs in order to execute the code. It has them all packed into the image, so it doesn't need to download anything separate or take any of the DLLs from any runtimes at any stage or any environments from anywhere else on the Windows computer. It has them all packed in anyways. So I'm assuming that's so malware, people who design malware don't have to worry about, oh, what if this computer doesn't have this specific DLL, it just packs it in anyways. So the next one was dynamic linking. With dynamic linking, the libraries are packed as mini executables and publish a set of symbols that programs and other libraries can link to. On Windows, dynamic libraries have the file extensions like DLLs, so that's what a DLL is. It's a dynamic link, basically. And the last one was runtime linking. Runtime linking is when at runtime, the library is loaded to resolve a reference. It is found by searching a specific path. So runtime linking is the binding of objects usually generated from one or more previous link edits to generate a runnable process. This bookkeeping information is produced to represent the binary's requirements. This information enables the runtime linker to load, reallocate, and complete the binding process. So basic runtime linking is at runtime if it searches specific paths in order to get the information that it needs in order to be able to execute the file there and complete the actual binding process. So it's just a little bit of information regarding that. So once you've got all that, that's it. That's basically static analysis done in a nutshell. There are obviously, like I said, there are more ways to do this, and there are different ways to do this, and we will explore all of these ways. And there is more in-depth stuff about this, but as far as this goes, it's pretty much done. So you got the strings, you got the information you need, good to go. Save everything, always create snapshots, and always take screenshots. Screenshots are important because you can provide, wherever you build a report, the actual screenshots in order to visual aid your information. So if you have any questions about static analysis, let me know. The video for dynamic analysis will also be up, so go check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.